Hi, I'm Andrew Weiss for Top Sports Media's Fantasy Cheaters. On today's episode, we're going to be going over everything you need to know about fantasy football, the players to draft, the players not to draft, and the sleepers you need to look for. Thanks for joining us, and welcome to Fantasy Cheaters. Let's start off with the quarterbacks. At number 5 is the Indianapolis Colts' Andrew Luck. I put Andrew Luck at number 5 because I truly think he will be in the top 5 fantasy points for quarterbacks this season. With a great tight end core and 2 great wide receivers in Reggie Wayne and T.Y. Hilton, he'll produce points like you won't believe. Expect Andrew Luck to be in the top 5 this year for fantasy points. Next on our list at number 4 is Matthew Stafford. Stafford is expected to have a breakout season, especially with a wide receiver core including Calvin Johnson. With Megatron in tow, expect Matthew Stafford to have a top 5 season and possibly a top 3. At number 3, I have Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers got injured last year, broke his collarbone. However, it's not a throwing arm injury, and he is expected to be 100% this season. And with Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and a great running back in Eddie Lacy, expect the Packers' offensive attack to be one of the best in the league. At number 2, we have Drew Brees. The Saints' attack is expected to be number 1 in the league for offense, and Drew Brees has another great wide receiver core, including rookie Brandon Cooks. Expect Drew Brees to be in the upper echelon of the league this year for quarterbacks. Finally on our list at number 1 is Peyton Manning. Manning and the Broncos had a great year last year, all the way to the Super Bowl. Up until then, the regular season, he had a great year, throwing for over 5,000 passing yards and 55 touchdowns. With those stats, you should always keep in mind Peyton Manning is number 1. Next on our list are the sleeper quarterbacks. These are the guys you should target in the later rounds that could end up being your best draft pick. Starting off our list is none other than the Bears' Jay Cutler. Cutler had a great season last year and is expected to do even better under head coach Mark Trestman. Trestman's usage of the running gun sort of offense will utilize Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey to their full extent, and don't forget Martellus Bennett, the tight end. Jay Cutler and these weapons will absolutely produce this season, and if he's available in your later rounds, pick him up. He will be a QB1, if not a close QB2. Next on our list is Phillip Rivers. Rivers every year seems to have a great offensive season. However, he seems to get passed over for the top 5 no matter what. However, if you see him in your later rounds, draft him immediately. He is a QB1 without a doubt. With Ladarius Green and Keenan Allen, 2 young but solid offensive players, expect Phillip Rivers to have another great season in leading the Chargers back to the playoffs. Finally on our list is Miami Dolphins' Ryan Tannehill. This is the make-or-break year for Tannehill. Will he be good? Will he be bad? I'm expecting good. With great weapons in Mike Wallace and Brian Hartline, and a new offensive coordinator, expect Tannehill to hit the 30-touchdown range this year. If he's available in your later rounds, he might not even be a good backup. He'd be a great starter. Expect Ryan Tannehill to have a breakout season. Finally, we have our quarterbacks to avoid. These are quarterbacks you should avoid drafting in the early rounds or later rounds as a backup. Starting off our list is the Rams' Sam Bradford. Avoid Sam Bradford at all costs. He has proven to be none other than a lower draft pick sort of value the last few years, and he hasn't produced nowhere near as what a lot of fantasy owners expect him to do. Don't draft Sam Bradford because he will not be worth your draft pick. Finally on our list we have RG3. Now the league is touting RG3 as the next quarterback of the future, and their wide receiver core is dynamic, yes. However, RG3 is injury prone. He's coming off a 3-13 season, he's playing with a new head coach and new wide receivers, and although that group is talented, we have no idea how they're going to gel, especially with a very weakened offensive line. Expect a lot of sacks and a lot of interceptions this year for RG3, while his interception to touchdown ratio will be the lower end. Next on our list are the 5 teams to avoid drafting a quarterback from. These are the teams you should avoid drafting from, either because of controversies or depth chart battles, or possibly just inconsistencies. Starting off our list is none other than the Houston Texans. The Texans' longtime starter in Matt Schaub was traded away earlier this year, and Case Keenum just won't do. Although they did draft some quarterbacks and signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, don't expect a whole lot of production from this weak offense. Next on our list is the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders ended up getting Matt Schaub and also drafted Derek Carr, but expect neither of them to get enough fantasy points to be worth your time. They are a lower end QB2, if not QB3. Next on our list are the Minnesota Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater has a great future, and Matt Castle, not as much. However, just because Bridgewater has a lot of potential does not translate necessarily to top fantasy points. Don't expect a whole lot of Bridgewater this season. You can still expect a lot from Adrian Peterson. Don't expect a lot from the air attack from the Vikings. Next on our list is the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns still don't know who their quarterback is, whether it's Brian Hoyer or Johnny Manziel. And even if they pick one, who knows if they're going to change halfway through the year. I wouldn't waste a draft pick on either of these guys simply because their attack is just not strong enough. Josh Gordon is suspended for a good amount of the year, if not all of the year, and their rushing attack just simply isn't where it needs to be. Expect a lower end offense from the Browns, and expect a lower end production from either Manziel or Hoyer. On the top of our list are the New York Jets. The Jets still can't decide whether Geno Smith is their future or not. And Michael Vick, although it is worth the production, just is not the starter. The Jets are pegging Geno Smith as a starter, but with the controversy going on, and with Geno Smith not really being able to produce, don't waste your time with the Jets quarterback. They're just not worth your draft pick.